Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to see what are tables in SQL Server. Okay. So as usual, the agenda would be understanding tables in SQL Server and then a practical demo. Okay. So first, let us understand what are tables. So tables are the database objects that can store data in organized way. In my last video, we have seen that what are databases, and then that this RDBMS databases are used to store primary. They are used to store the database. Of course, there are so many other features and everything available with these databases, but the primary goal of this is to store a data and to retrieve the data, right? So it can store a data in an organized way. Data is stored in rows and columns, just like a spreadsheet. So if at any point of time, if you have worked with Excel, then you know that there are rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there are columns like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So in the same way, data is stored into the tables in Microsoft SQL Server. Each row represents a unique record, and each column represents field in that row. Okay, simply. So each row represents a unique record in the table, and each column into that row represents a field in that row. Okay. Standard user defined table can have up to 1024 columns. So when you create a table, it is called as a user defined table. So that standard user defined table can have up to 1024 columns, and number of rows is not limited. There is no limitation on the number of rows in a table. It is just limited by the storage capacity of the server. Okay. So this is very brief of what are tables, and let us see how to create a table. So it's a very simple structure called as a, you can say, specify create, then table, and then table name, and then column 1 data type, column 2 data type, column 3 data type. Okay. So I'm not going into detail of what are data types. I'm going to create one more video on the data types. There are so many number of available data types or the Microsoft support. Okay. But here you just need to understand that each column should have a specific data type associated, so that we can understand that what type of data is going to be stored into that column. Okay. So for example, if the integer data type is there, then we can understand, okay, integer type of data would go, character is then character, date, time, and so on. Okay. So this is a very basic structure of create a table, how to create a table. Okay. Let's action something. Let me open my management studio. Okay. Now to create a table in Microsoft SQL Server, there are two main main ways. There are different ways, but there are two main ways. One is from UI. This is called as a user interface, and this is called as a TSQL language. Okay. Let me first create a database here. My database is created. You can see here table demo. Okay, and let me use this. Okay. So now when you expand this table demo, right, there is an uh, option on tables, and again expand these tables. You can see all your created user defined tables. Currently there is no table. Okay. So just right click and then click on the new, and then click on the table here, and then start putting your column name. So here you can see column names, a data type, and whether nulls are allowed or not. Okay. So let me start this ID, and when you do a drop down, you can see all the data types which are supported by Microsoft. Okay. So let me take this as first of all integer, then name, sorry, name. I can say character. So basic is character 10, but we can surely change this to 50, and then maybe department, and here I can say varchar 50. Okay. Don't worry, we will have a video what is char, varchar, and so on, right? But here just you need to understand that, okay, these are my columns. Three columns I have defined, and the data types associated with each column. Now with each column, you can also specify some other configuration also, like what is the default value, whether you can have some description attached to this column. Then you can have the identity property on this also. I'm going to do a separate video on what is an identity column. Okay. So this way you can have other configuration also done on the table. Once this is done, just press save and provide the table name. So I'm specifying employee table. Okay. And once you are done that, press OK, and then you can close this window. And now if you refresh your table section, you can see employee table is created. Okay. And when you expand employee table, you can see the same columns, ID, name, and department with their data types. Okay. So this is one way where you can create a table. Another way is, as I told you, through TSQL programming, and I had already shown you the structure. So I'm using the same structure with, create as my command. So it will create what type of object. So, I'm specifying a table. So it will create a table type of object. And then what is an object name? So I'm specifying employee. And then within this two open and close bracket, you can specify all your column names which you want to be created in this table with the comma, with a comma separation. So I'm specifying ID as integer, name as varchar, short name as character, date of birth as date, joining date as date time, and so on. Okay. So once you specify all the columns, just select this and press execute. And that's it. Your table is created. Now, if I refresh this, then you can see my employee table also. Now there are two tables. This was created from UI and this is from TSQL program, right? That is query editor window. When I expand this, you can see again the same thing, columns, all the columns which I have specified here with their data types. Okay. So this is the way how to create a table. Now let me just show you. Of course, I'm going to do a separate video on DML operation, but let me just show you by entering one record into this table with this insert statement. So I'm executing this. It has been executed, and when I query this employee table, you can see the data is being created. That is ID one, Jitendra Jeet, and then date of birth, joining date, and so on. Okay, so this way you can create a table and you can, put your data into this table. Okay, there are other way also of creating a table that is called as creating a table from a table. Okay, so how to do that? The syntax is very simple. Let me first create, query this table. So when I query this table, just simply select star from employee, then I can see this data. But now what I'm doing, I'm filtering this data with where 1 is equal to 2. Now you know that this is a false condition. So when I query this table like this, you can see my data is not generated because I have provided a false condition to filter the record. So it is not generated, but it bring back the structure, right? The column names and maybe their data types. Okay. So this is the very good way whenever you have a requirement that you want to just create a structure from a table, then you can use this way. And then you just have to specify the into clause and the new table name. So what does it does is that select star into my new table name from where, so my base table is employee, but I'm specifying the condition where 1 is equal to 2. So when I execute this, no record would be affected or generated, but my table would get generated. Okay. So let me refresh this and you can see my employee dupe only structure table is created. Okay. So this is the way where you can, if whenever you want to create as only structure, you can do this. And if you want to create a exact duplicate or the replica of the table, then simply specify select star into my employee dupe. Now here I have given another name of the table, employee dupe with data, and then from table name. That is my base table. When I execute this query, one more table would be generated. You can see here, sorry, refresh. You can see here employee dupe data, right? So it is being generated from employee. And when I query this now newly generated table, you can see ID, name, short name, date of birth, joining date, and so on. So we if we don't specify a condition, or even if we specify a proper where clause, you can actually create a table with a data also. Now this can be used in many ways. That currently, if you can see here, I have used star, but you can specify only three columns. That if you want a table which should be generated only for ID, name, and short name, then instead of star, you can actually write a column names, and in that case, that table would be generated with only three columns. Similarly, if you want to have some subset of data, right here, if for example there are hundreds of thousands of rows, right, and you want to create a separate table whose joining date was some specific, right? Then you can actually have a where condition, a filter condition, right? In that case, it would generate on the new table only with those records. So basically, it depends upon what select statement you write. If you have a filter select statement, then your new table would be like with those records only, right? So yeah, that's it. So hope you have enjoyed this video related to the table. If you then don't forget to press a like button, or and also don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you will keep getting the notification about the new videos coming in. Right. So that's it for today, guys. Bye for now. Take care. Meet you soon with next topic.